They are putting things in place that is going to make these individuals have to at some point adhere to some gender. I don't care what nobody says. They would have been better getting AOC to do this. This guy, at least she would have showed some enthusiasm.
When you say Harris, nobody knows who the hell you're talking about. No, nobody has any idea. Harris. Hey, where's Harris? They know Kamala. They know Kambabla. That was the nickname I used for a while, but I don't use it anymore because everyone thought I was just mispronouncing her name. I wasn't. Kambabla.
January 20th, 2025 was Inauguration Day in the United States of America. President Donald J. Trump was sworn in for the second time to be the president of the United States. And man, did he hit the ground running with executive orders on just day one. Welcome to CozyCorner TV, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Kieran Smith, call me Q, and we are on the corner. We're on the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping by. What is up, everybody? And today we're on the corner with First Post, and we're reacting to one of the early executive orders that President Donald Trump signed on day one or day two, I believe. And it is entitled, Trump Government Halts Passport Applications with X Gender Marker. So this is First Post America reacting to this, and we're going to chime in, see what they had to say about it. It's about 5 minutes long. And then I'm going to give some feedback. So here's the thing about this. Even though I have many friends and allies in the LGBTQIA plus community, I don't always keep up with every single thing going on. So sometimes I know a decent amount what's going on, but I could still be lost to some small things. And I say small because maybe a huge part of that community isn't going by maybe a new policy that's been passed, or maybe it was a policy that was passed and it was a small thing that not many people wanted, but it was passed. Nonetheless, some people start to abide by it, many don't. In this case, it was the X gender marker. So I was not aware that people were actually putting this gender marker X on their passports. And apparently, I think maybe on some state IDs. I know definitely on some medical records. So apparently, because this was happening, and I found out that this went into effect actually in 2022, I actually watched the speech of the gentleman that gave, I guess, the public the talk of, hey, this is going to be a policy that's going to be public. It's going to be going public. People are allowed to do this thing. And he didn't look like he wanted to have that talk. He didn't look like he wanted to give the speech at all. At least that was my take on it. But I just thought to myself, okay, so some people are using the gender marker X. So they're not marking male. They're not marking female. Apparently there's male, female, then there's X. Okay. So some people have decided to use X. Apparently when this whole to get this thing rolling, I believe it was a non-binary individual. I do think they were in America, but they might have been in Canada, but I think they were in America. And this person sued the government because of the gender marker on their passport. So this person was intersex. Now, this is important because intersex is not the same thing as being transgender. You actually can't control being intersex, and you can't transgender into being intersex. It's actually a person that's born this way, right? So I know people that have been born this way. Sometimes they might have like maybe an inverted micro penis but still have ovaries, right? Or maybe they might have testes but no ovaries. So this is not something that someone can like just change into or transition into. This person's actually born this way. So this individual apparently got the whole thing started with the X gender even being able to be used because they were intersex. I guess they didn't want to identify as either gender. And I mean, with the intersex person, it's complicated because they can literally have both sexes within their body. They can literally have male testes and female ovaries. So it's like this person, I guess, didn't want to claim any gender at the time. I haven't watched their whole story. Don't quote me on it. Go watch it for yourself. But that's what got the ball rolling to them suing the government and then the gender marker coming into play. So we're going to take a look at first post and let's see what they're talking about as far as this X gender marker. And it's actually being blocked and halted on right now, as far as I know, passport applications. But I think it's going to go further to medical documentation and maybe even some state documentation.
Donald Trump's controversial policies have been hitting the LGBTQ community very, very hard. In fact, on Thursday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly issued a directive ordering his staff to halt all passport applications with the X sex marker. Americans who don't identify as either male or female use this marker on federal documents for the past 3 years. However, with the Trump administration now only recognizing male and female genders, it seems like the existence of the gender-neutral sex marker has come to an end. Here's more from Foggy Bottom.
Hi, Donald John Trump.
U.S. President Donald Trump's return to the White House is nothing short of a nightmare for the transgender community. Day by day, his administration is rolling out measures to crack down on the rights of transgenders and snatch away their identity. On Thursday, Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly ordered his staff to halt all passport applications in the U.S. which have X written where they're supposed to mention their sex. The marker signals that the person does not identify as either male or female. Now
So right here, I'll read this for you guys real quick. It says, Rubio instructs staff to freeze passport applications with X sex markers. The U.S. State Department has frozen all applications for passports with X sex markers and changed to gender identity on existing passports, following a new executive order signed by Donald Trump on his first day of office.
applicants seeking to change their sex marker will not be entertained as well. But that's not all. Rubio also directed his staff to use sex instead of gender on federal documents, including passports, visas, global entry cards, and consular report of birth abroad documents.
So Rubio also wants them to use sex instead of gender on these passport applications and medical documents and some state documents as well.
Rubio's order concluded that an individual's sex is not changeable, forcing trans people to use the marker they were assigned at birth. The directive changing millions of lives comes after the inauguration of the new president, where he said the US government will officially recognize only two genders, that is male and female.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Trump also signed an executive order on the first day of his presidency narrowing down gender identity and imposing biological classification on people who do not want to be perceived like that anymore. Meanwhile, it is unclear that what will happen to the current passports which already have an X marker. But what's clear is that Trump's executive order is dismantling former President Joe Biden's efforts to be more inclusive of America's gender identification. The State Department began issuing the X marker on passports in 2022 after a long legal battle by Dana Zinn, a non-binary and intersex US Navy veteran, who sued the government over the gender-neutral marker issue back in...
So this person is they're also a veteran, but this is the person I was referring to that's intersex that sued the government for the gender marker.
2015.
On Transgender Day of Visibility today, the United States affirms that transgender rights are human rights. We celebrate the achievements of transgender, non-binary, gender-conforming persons around the world. We recognize their bravery and their hard-fought work for equality, inclusion, and the full recognition of their human rights.
Bro, this guy does not look happy giving this speech. I don't care what nobody says. They would have been better getting AOC to do this. This guy, at least she would have showed some enthusiasm. This guy looks like, why are you making me do this? Why am I saying this? I hate this job.
We celebrate the diverse expressions of gender and full diversity of gender identities around the world. We also want to highlight, as the Secretary announced in a statement earlier today, the historic milestone the Department has reached in its work to better serve all U.S. citizens, regardless of their gender identity. Starting on April 11th, U.S. citizens will be able to select an X as their gender marker on their U.S. passport application, and the option will become available for other forms of documentation next year.
Till now, Americans were not required to match their marker with their gender on citizenship documents, photo IDs, or medical documentation. However, with Trump coming to power again, Biden's fast-moving progressive gender policies have been put into reverse gear.
From breaking news to the day's big...
So, as of recent, since President Trump signed executive orders day 1 and day 2, they are now pushing for people who don't have their gender markers, especially gender marker X specifically. If it does not match or if you're not claiming any specific gender, they are putting things in place that is going to make these individuals have to at some point adhere to some gender. So they don't really get the choice anymore to say, hey, you know, I'm binary. Like, they can still say it. They can say they're non-binary or they're gender fluid, but they can't claim that anymore so much on an ID card or a passport. So this is hitting the LGBTQIA plus community pretty hard. I'm wondering, what do you guys think about this? Do you have friends in this community? Do you have allies? Do you care about the legislation that's being passed? I mean, no one's being harmed in this community by this legislation physically, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of mental impact. I'm sure there'll be some, you know, a lot of depression. There could be some suicides, and we don't want to really see suicides, you know, but people suffer in different ways and a lot of times silently. So I'm definitely curious to know, what do you guys think about this? I know a lot of us, maybe we're more concerned about legislation that's more beneficial towards just us, but I know I have friends in the community, and I have family members in the community, and I wonder how they feel about it. You know, I wonder how life is going to change for them. So guys, it's about that time. Light up the comment section. Tell me what you think about this. How do we feel about the community and these policies? It seems like they are one of the communities that are getting hit the hardest, other than the immigrants, as far as day 1 and day 2 and just legislation being signed and not so much happening so much after that, but just the signing of the legislation and the putting of the place in the policy seems to just be causing a big uproar on definitely the migrants and definitely on the LGBTQIA plus community. And we're going to see a couple of more communities get hit pretty hard. And it's going to be like this at first, right? Because Donald Trump is rectifying a lot of things. As he said coming into office, he said, listen, I'm going to fix things. I'm going to do it very quickly, you know, and he's even himself said that some things are going to feel horrible before they feel better. So you guys, tell me what we think about this. Gender marker X. Should someone actually use one of the two? I kind of feel like the only reason yes is because, dude, it makes life simpler. If I'm just being honest, it makes life simpler. And that might be, to some of you, that might be a ridiculous reason, but I'm just saying it makes life simpler. So, and please, if you're a part of the community, chime in. How do you feel about this? Friends, family, whatever. How do you feel about not being able to use gender marker X anymore? Do you feel like your friends or family should choose one and not use X? So, appreciate you guys stopping by and chilling on the corner with me. Every topic is always fun with you guys. Until next time, guys, be peaceful. Take care of yourselves. Love one another. Peace.